Welcome back to Champ Talk with Branden Hudson, guys. I'm happy to have you with me like I am every week. And I want to say this real quick. I'm so blessed to be able to get to do what I get to do. I literally get on here and talk my shit for about 45 minutes every week. And I don't know why it's so fulfilling to be able to pass this knowledge and have guests on and do all the crazy things that I get to do. But without further ado, if you do get value out of this episode or you know someone who will, please like and share this to them. And if you ever so kind, drop us a little subscription and hit us with a review, man. We really could use that so that everybody can recognize us in the algorithm and get to know us and things like that. But anyway, new solo episode. We're kind of changing up the things here at Champ Talk with the studio. We got some more stuff coming, but we're in the works of playing with some things. Last week we did one, for the first time without the table, and it looked pretty good. This one should look even better. But enough with all that bullshit. You know what I mean? Let's just get right down to it, man. I've had this weird feeling about this whole mantra and way that men or influencers, I should say, are trying to sell you on this man branding thing, right? Where they're trying to sell you on, what it takes to be a man, generally speaking, and be offended if you want. Generally speaking, it's a guy with tattoos, a big beard, some sort of saying on his shirt, you know what I mean? Whatever. And I'm not knocking anybody who's made money or made a good brand off that. I'm not trying to hate over here, but it's been that kind of guy trying to tell you how to be a man, right? Or it's been like the Andrew Tate model, and again, I'm not a big fan of the way that Andrew Tate came up, but the more I listen to him, the more he makes sense in a lot of things, not all things. And I think he's always made sense in a lot of things, but I don't know if that's really the angle. You know what I mean? To me, it just sounds more selly and salesy and, hey, this is the extreme you got to go be. And I don't know. I agree with a lot of it. I don't know the guy. Obviously, I'm not going to hate on another man for doing what they got to do. But that's just like the whole image that people are trying to sell you on being a man. And that's piqued my interest for the past couple of years because I've never really wanted to go down that rabbit hole with, this is what it takes to be a man. Obviously, I could be like, yo, go fight and be in real estate, make a lot of money and do all this cool stuff, and that'll make you a man. But that's, to me, that's falling into the same lines as what I'm talking about with these guys, these images that are trying to sell you on it. And it's everywhere you look. Everybody's trying to tell you, everybody wants to be Andrew Tate or everybody wants to tell you how to do it. And there's really no general substance to what these guys are saying when it comes to how to do it. It's always like, well, buy my package and I'll teach you how to do something. Sign up to my university and I'll teach you how to be a man or stuff like that. So as this has been piquing my interest the past few years, and I have my first son who's 3 years old, I've really paid attention to a lot of the stuff that I'm consuming, you know what I mean? The stuff that I'm watching, reading, and so forth. And I have learned that there is a major deficiency and a decline in what young men, whether they're in their teens or early 30s, what young men are really experiencing right now when it comes to, where their purpose is, where they're at, where do they fit in? And I've read a couple of books, and basically the poor Gen Zers, this great book, Anxious Generation, I'm reading right now, the Gen Zers who had experienced puberty, both male and female, with the smartphones, the research and the numbers are alarming on how rapid the mental health issues had increased, right? I'm talking about like triple digit percentages where, they have developed anxiety, depression, some sort of ADHD, some sort of, bipolar type of situation. And some of that stuff is chemically induced, but also it can be influenced. And as I'm reading and learning and all these things, I just got thinking about to myself, these kids are really lost. And what they're doing is they're, with the smartphone come out, let me back up. I'm going all over the place. When the smartphone came out, that's when you really saw the decline, right? That's when you saw like the attention span and, the identity of oneself and so forth really plummet. And then you saw like, we're just like, it all got weird. And all of us old heads and older people even the younger people will say, well, it's the phones, it's the phones. I think it's a little bit more deeper than that, you know? Now, I'm not going to try to quote Anxious Generation and try to give you all the talking points on that, because one, it's a lot of information to consume, but it does make a lot of sense, you know? And here's one thing I have to blame. I have to blame people my age, people that are in their early 40s to 50s, maybe mid 50s. It's our fucking fault that we're failing these men. Okay. We can talk about the women later, and that could be another podcast, but I'm going to go directly towards the men, because let me tell you something that society needs. Society needs strong leaders, strong men, strong independent men that have a plan, that know where they want to go, that are unafraid to take risks. And between, you know, having the smartphones and all the things that added to that, video games, you know, so many men are running to video games because, you know, when you look at what social media does or what the phones do, you know, women have their own challenges with it, but the attention that women are seeking, and again, I'm not trying to be offensive on this, I'm just trying to generalize what most people go through, not all people, but a lot of women want attention. And it's not a bad thing, you know what I mean? They should, in my opinion, why not? But now they have that ability to have attention all the time. You know what I mean? Where, you know, that's when you get into the selfies and get into the risque pictures and the likes and the follows and all that stuff, the DMs. And it's made dating a little bit weirder. And what some influencers are going to try to sell you on is that's why men have trouble, you know, going out here and finding a good woman, is because, you know, they have been subjected to having to compete with social media DMs and every Tom, Dick, and Harry in somebody's DMs. And I think there may be a little truth to that, but that's nowhere near the reason why. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what challenges that we have as men, right? Or as a generation, we're always find a way to overcome. And when you go through your puberty years limited to just the cell phone and the smartphone, and you're only looking at, you know, the phone, or you're only playing games, or another big issue is pornography, or you're just subjected to get your, you know, rush from pornography. We know that pornography is a huge addiction in our culture right now because of the access, the accessibility. Then you're not developing those crucial skills of resilience, of how to find your place in a room, how to work a room, how to communicate, read body language, all these amazing things that we need as human beings. And my age, right, my age bracket, we had those automatically. So it's easy for us to sit here and say, well, shit, you know what I mean? Why all these kids get it? Why all these guys get, all you got to do is go out there and talk to somebody. All you got to do, well, yeah, that's easy because we were already conditioned for that, because we had to go outside. We had to, you know, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have any of that stuff. So we had already been trained and conditioned to feel the awkwardness of rejection, or figure out how on a basketball court or on a playground, how to maneuver, you know what I mean? How to take our bumps and how to get hurt and how to avoid danger and things like that. We had already learned that in the millennial / Gen Z type of, the early Gen Z type of growing up, Gen X's as well. So it's arrogant and it's ridiculous for people my age to sit here and say, well, shit, you know, I don't understand why they can't get it. We have to do a better job of leading. And it brings me to my next point. A lot of these men and young men are sitting here looking to these bearded, tattooed guys and the Andrew Tates and all these. And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these images. You know, you can go with these images and learn a lot, right? I'm not trying to demonize anybody. I'm just saying, it's kind of like before social media influencers came out, you know, we were looking at celebrities as our heroes. And now you're seeing, especially with the Epstein bullshit, how many of these fucking celebrities are just disgusting individuals and not good people. You know, you hear about Hollywood and all that stuff. It's the same thing with the influencers or with these men or whatever you want to dub it as. And I promise I got a point here. But now that's who the men are looking towards as their role models and their leaders. And it had me thinking, your fucking role models and your leaders are right here in your own hometown. Your role models and your leaders are just men in your area that are living a life that you can learn from, right? And again, let's play devil's advocate. A lot of the men my age, to be honest with you, that I'm around are fucking losers. You know what I mean? Not around, excuse me, that I know, are losers. They're still stuck in some old way of trying to prove themselves. You know what I mean? You see the guys, the yo boys, you know what I mean? They're like 41, 42 years old that are still wearing, the red ball cap, the oversized red shirt, the oversized jeans with the red shoes. That style's been gone for like over 2 decades, fam. Like, what the fuck are you still wearing that for, trying to be relevant, right? Still talking, like they're in the streets and all that shit, or even might be in the streets. Like, bro, that is not a role model, right? And that's one example. You see all these examples of these men that, don't know how to, keep their marriage together, don't sit here and take care of their kids the way that they should. They do just enough to, look good on social media, or they don't take care of them at all. Still complaining and blaming everybody for why they're not in where they need to be and things like that. So you're still seeing that kind of example for these younger men to look at, and that's really muting off. And then they'll have the audacity is they'll fit all those models that I just talked about, and then they'll have the audacity to sit here and try to preach to somebody, tell somebody how to live and all that shit. Like, no kid is going to listen, no young man is going to listen to somebody who is so disconnected with where we're at nowadays. And just because they make a couple good points and they talk loud and whatever, it just doesn't work. So I'm looking at that, right? So, but you filter through all that bullshit. There are male leaders and role models in your community right now that a lot of people are overlooking because they don't have a bunch of likes and followers, or because they see the imperfections of people. Now, let me tell you something. If there's anything you can learn from today's world, is how no, that's not a word. How most people are not perfect, right? How most people have flaws, okay? We are a flawed society. We're flawed individuals. Our flaws are what makes us who we are. And when you see influencers or celebrities or people of power that have flaws, right? Then the mobs come out and the mobs want to demonize people. And then you see that, so it's a real weird flex. When you see it in real life with your, person down the in the church, or your teacher, or your community leader, or a coach or whoever, and you see that they have flaws, it's so easy and such a default for people to just, no, I can't fool that person. Did you hear about him? He cheated on his wife. You know what I mean? Or what? He got drunk and got in a fist fight. Or some things that people just do. Okay, and I'm not saying they're good things. It just happened. I mean, it's happened forever. People make mistakes. People are flawed. You can have a person who is really great at many things, and they can't be around drugs, you know what I mean? Or they can't be around women, or they can't be around, they can't be trusted with large sums of money. It doesn't make them a bad person. It just makes them flawed. But there's so much more you can learn from a person like that. You tell me one person that has no flaws and no skeletons in their closet, and introduce them to me, because I'd love to meet that person, right? Because the only person I know who's ever been that is Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? No one else has been able to do that. But people are so quick in the society to, once that happens, jump on bandwagons and come out with the mobs and pitchforks and demonize that person, right? When that person is the person you might want to be next to. You can get influenced by all the podcasts and all the books and all the videos that you want in your life, but to really be mentored by somebody, the real meat and potatoes is caught, not taught. The real meat and potatoes of learning how to be a man and learning how to be responsible, learn how to be somebody who can hold it down, is the everyday stuff that you see that doesn't get published, doesn't get talked about, how they conduct themselves when there's problems. Some problems are no one's fucking business, dude. Some issues and things that pop up on a daily basis, especially in business or relationships, they're not the internet's business. These motherfuckers run to the internet and talk about every little thing that their significant other does, you know what I mean? And then goes right back to them. Like, yo, leave that shit off the internet. Leave your family, leave your drama, leave that stuff off the internet, right? That's the stuff that really is the example for people. So, I'm kind of freestyling a little bit, going all across the rails, because I want to kind of set the stage for, what I think it takes for two things. One, to be a leader to these men, And two, for these young men to learn how to become men, right? To learn how to be a man, all right? First things first, you know what I mean? You got to get off the pornography, dog. Like you got to, you got to, pornography is such an issue, right? And I'll be honest with you, I'm not anti-porn, right? Like nobody's anti-dirty magazine when we were growing up. Nobody's anti, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to make this weird, but at the same time, it's like, you know, hey, you need to go handle your business, right? Whatever it means. But when you're addicted to it, that's a problem. Just like anything else. When you're unable to have that fulfillment with a human, that's a problem. I didn't realize that the numbers of young men just having sex alone is significantly low, right? Now, when I say sex and when we talk about porn and we talk about these things, everybody freaks out. Oh, what? It's a fucking normal thing to do in life. Men are supposed to have sex. Women are supposed to have sex. How you want to do that, whether you want to be in a relationship, whether you want to, wait till marriage, or whether you want to date and just have an active sexual lifestyle. It's important. It drives us. It makes us want to go do things. It makes us want to be something, right? When you have a relationship and you have with someone and you're able to have sex with someone as a man, that drives you to want to go do bigger and better things. When you're subjected to beating your meat constantly on a fucking screen on your TV, on your phone, you're having problems. You're going to have problems with your purpose in life. You're going to have problems with performance issues. You're going to have problems with where your imagination goes, because it only gets weirder and weirder and weirder the farther your addiction goes in. Now, I've never been addicted to porn, but I understand people and have talked to people and heard people who have, and it gets out of hand. And probably why we have so much kiddie porn going around so much, because, who knows whether that person was sick or not, or they just got out of hand and nothing could stimulate them. An addiction is an addiction. And if you are, as a man, running to pornography every single day, multiple times a day, and it's creating a problem, get rid of it. Cut it cold turkey, move on, okay? Give yourself a break from it so that you can go out here and have the real feelings of intimacy, of meeting someone, of connecting with somebody and so forth. Now, I know this kind of went a little bit left and a little bit weird, but it's a true thing. Like, motherfuckers don't want to say this shit because everybody's like, oh, we can't talk about the real thing. Yeah, we can talk about the real thing, okay? My identity is wrapped up around my sexual lifestyle. My wife and I, we've had many conversations about what's important to me. And one of the number one things is love making. Whether we're, doing this or doing that, however we're doing it, that's important to me, right? It always has been. And it's a wonder why I'm so competitive. It's a wonder why I'm such an alpha. It's a wonder why I go out here and try to take over things, because that's what's important to me. Is that all I want? No, absolutely not. Is that how my mind works constantly? Is that all men think about? No, but it's a key fundamental to life. And scientific research shows the benefit of a healthy sex life, right? So again, if you're on pornography, get the fuck off of it, dude, because it's only going to turn even worse and worse and worse for you. And you know what I mean? At least take yourself and give yourself a break from it for a while, so that if you do need it to, fill in them gaps or whatever you got to do, get that need, get that release. You're not doing it in a space where it's getting weirder and weirder, and you got some crazy shit going on. Video games. Talk about the next thing. Video games. I love video games. I think they're great. I can't fucking play video games. I can't play video games because it takes up too much of my time, okay? It absolutely takes up too much of my time. They're so fun. They're so addictive. They're so stimulating. But I can't spend 3 or 4 hours a night, right, playing fucking Call of Duty and then getting up and going to work extremely tired, all right? It's just, let's just call it for what it is. Now, I know people are going to come at me and talk this shit about, hey, look, if your life is in order, right, if you've got your own crib, you got your own cars, you got a career, you're taking care of your family, you got all your shit together, and you're in a space where that's what you like to do for fun, absolutely. But if you're rushing home to play video games, or all you want to do is play video games and you ain't got your shit together, there's a problem. There's a problem, right? And I'm not demonizing video games. They're fun. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare has to be one of the most incredible games ever built, right? Ever made. Sure, the basketball game K2, K3, whatever, 2K, I don't know the basketball game. Sure, whatever, what's the one called, the big one, number 6, whatever it's called, Vice City, it had one. I can't think of the name, I'm sorry. Anyway, all these games are great, right? They got all these great, but I thought when I played during COVID, Modern Warfare, that was the craziest concept where you could just drop into a map and then fight everybody for themselves. And it was great concept. Oh my gosh, I played hours upon hours upon hours. And instead of a mistake I made, instead of pivoting during a time where the government shut us down and pivoting in a time where I needed to figure out my shit for my business, what I could have done, I could have took over the market had I really locked in and focused on what was important and started my marketing campaigns. Then I sat back and just kind of waited around like a lot of Americans did. Waited around to see what the government was going to say, waited around to see when this thing was going to be over. And I played video games. I played so many video games. Got really good at Call of Duty, actually, and I didn't make any money. I didn't do anything to progress my family. Now, again, I'm not saying that you can't play them, you should play them, but if you're playing them for 4, 5, 6 hours a day, bro, let's go. That's not being a man. That's being a child. That's being a kid. Especially if you haven't gotten your shit together. If you don't got a fucking home or you don't got investments, it's one thing if you've got all your shit together. If you don't got none of that shit, there's probably a correlation as to why you don't have none of your stuff together, right? And I'm gonna tell you this, no woman wants to sit around and watch you play video games. That's just not what she wants to do, okay? So, that's how I got to it. I was end up, before I stopped playing them, when we got back to work and all these things, I was playing them late night with my boys in the chat rooms, and it was just getting, I was staying until 4, 5, 6 in the morning and then having to go to work at 9 o'clock. That don't make no sense. That's not a healthy lifestyle. So, having the ability to just sit there and play video games all the time and wrapping your life around that, and you don't got your shit together, that's a problem. You know what I mean? And those are two things that you're not being a man about. And again, I'm not trying to make you feel bad, right? My job is to enlighten you and to give you game and to help you step into a world where you can become, who you want to be, become a real man, become a real role model. Another thing that I think being a man is having a plan. So many men out here I talk to have no plans. They have no way they don't know where they're going. They're waking up and living day by day. You don't have to have a plan for life, guys. You have to have a plan for this year. You have to have a plan for this week. A woman, when you talk to a woman and you're courting a woman, when you have a plan and you give that plan to that woman and you share that plan and your passion and your conviction, and it ain't no I hope tos and I want tos. It's like, this is where I'm at. I'm going to do this, this, and this, and it's going to lead me to this, this, and this, and then we're going to see where that takes us. You're developing a sense of leadership just in a conversation when you're talking to people, especially in a woman, right? And listen, if you're gay, man, oh man, whatever you want to do, you're still trying to give someone, whoever you're courting, you know what I mean, an opportunity to sit here and learn that, hey, this man's got his shit together. He's a real man. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, having a plan with life, with where you want to go, what you want to do, your career, so on and so forth, is critical for your personal development. It's critical for for you sitting here and setting yourself apart from majority. Look around, guys. Look around. How many men do you know? Well, they probably wouldn't admit it, but I can tell you it's probably everybody. How many men do you think are addicted to pornography in your space? How many men are on video games for excessive amounts of times during the day, every day? That's their default. How many men have no plan? They only have hoop dreams. Hoop dreams and a plan are way two different things, okay? When you're sitting here and you're dreaming about, one day I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that, that's a whole different conversation than when you're sitting here saying, hey, this is where I'm going today. This is where I'll be next week, by the end of the month, by the end of the quarter, by the end of the year, and in 5 years, this is where I'll be. That's a whole different conversation, whole different conversation. Another thing that I think that being a man is keep your fucking word. If you say you're going to do it, you do it. Under no circumstances, you don't break your word. Fuck your excuses. You don't make no excuses as to why you can't get whatever you did done. Reliability, being dependable, and being a man of your word is crucial for trust, for people wanting to trust and believe in you, okay? It's crucial. when you say you're going to do something for somebody, or you say you're going to be there for somebody, then you absolutely do it. Okay. You don't make excuses as to why you can't. Now, obviously there's times where a piano falls out of the sky and falls on your head and you can't make it. Yes, there are the special circumstances, but even then, I think men sit here and they fall back on things not working out the way they wanted them to and how they wanted them to. And they let that be the driver of them saying, oh, well, I was supposed to come here and I wouldn't. I got a buddy of mine who just got married not too long ago and invited a couple people to his wedding, and they reserved the spots. They said they were coming. They did the whole nine. They gave the fucking food orders, all that, and then didn't even show up. Didn't even show up to a fucking wedding. You know what I mean? And the excuse was I had a headache. Are you fucking kidding me? You had a fucking headache? What are you on your fucking period? Give me a break. Are you kidding me? That's what a man says on why he don't go to his buddy's wedding. It's keeping your word is a dying attribute in today's society. And if you're one of those men that keeps your word about everything, you stand apart from everybody else. Okay. So under no circumstances, you say you can do it, then do it. And here's the other flip side. If you don't know if you fucking can do it, shut the fuck up and don't say nothing. Don't tell somebody you're going to do something just because it sounds good in that moment. I used to be so bad at that, right? And I would still do what I said I was going to do, but the problem was I would stretch myself out so thin that it just didn't make sense. But I'd be one of them guys, and if I'm in a conversation, the conversation's going well, and they didn't need me to do something, like, yeah, I got you. I'll do it. Next thing you know, I'm at the next week's coming up. I got 17 tasks on my plate that I had no free time or ability to get done. Now I'm pushing myself to the max and stretching myself too thin, and then nothing's getting done really effectively. So you got to be a man, you got to keep your word. Excuse me. You got to keep your word. You got to be a person that says if I say it's red, it's going to be red. And you can bet your bottom dollar on that. That helps you become more of a stronger leader, more of a respectable man. Another thing is young men, you need to start getting yourself uncomfortable in communication. Meeting somebody and then sliding in their DMs after you meet them, and you said 2 words to them personally, but then you get on social media or wherever, and you slide in their DMs and you start having a full-on book conversation is lame. It's lame. It's lame. It's lame as shit, dude. Like, I don't even know how to, it's fucking lame. Yo, rejection is a part of success, okay? Rejection is a part of courting. Going up to a person, especially if you're trying to get a woman, right? Or you're trying to, go on a date or whatever. Going up to them and not being weird, not being creepy, not being this guy who's like stalking and looking. That's another thing. Don't fucking just stare at somebody for 25 fucking minutes trying to build the courage up to go talk to them. Get up, go talk to them. You know where I hear all this shit from? I hear all this shit from women. I hear all of these things from women. We talked about how, you're competing with people online and social media and stuff like that. Guess who ain't doing that? Motherfuckers ain't going up to women and saying, hey, how you doing? I'm Branden. I'd like to meet you. What are you doing? What are you into? What's your sign? Where you at? Where you doing? Blah, 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 blah. People ain't doing that. It's DMs, motherfuckers. If you have the ability to get up there and speak to somebody, fumble your words, get rejected, sound stupid, say dumb things. It's a part of the conditioning and the building the skill of communication. That if you can do that with a female without alcohol, without any kind of bullshit that's gonna, push you into courage mode, just you being you and going up to somebody and having an authentic conversation and shooting your shot, bro, that's how you learn how to work a room. That's how you learn how to communicate. That's how you become a better communicator. That's how you become a better lover, just a better man. Wouldn't you want your kids to do the same thing? Wouldn't you want your son to be able to have the ability to talk to a woman? Or do you want your son to sit here and when they see somebody they like, they be all creepy and weird and say 2 words, hi, how you doing? Huh, yeah, I like popcorn. And then all of a sudden they DM them and be like, yo, yeah, girl, I'm telling you this, I'm a DM master. Fuck out of here, man. Go back to how things used to be. People be like, well, that's not how they used to be, how it is nowadays. Make it, so exactly. If you want to be a man, you have to walk the path that no one else is walking. If not, you're going to be sheep. You're going to be like everybody else. And so what if you get rejected? So what if it's uncomfortable? Good. You need that. That will help you in that'll help you in business, that'll help you in sales, that'll help you in so many different things by just going out here and just shooting your shot and seeing where it goes. And then you'll learn what to say and what not to say the more you do that. We were down in Cancun one year, dude. It was fucking hilarious. Me and my boy were down in Cancun and we're walking the streets and crazy fucking looking white dude, drunk as shit, come up, you know what I mean, college guy. He's like, yo. I said, what's up, man? He said, man, I've been asking every single girl on the boardwalk, or not on the boardwalk, wherever they were, in the plaza, if I could get a kiss. And we laughed our ass, and we thought it was the funny shit. We was like, yeah, you get lucky. He said, hell yeah, man, I've gotten like 4 or 5 kisses. You know what I mean? How many times you were rejected? Shit, hundreds. It didn't matter. I still got 4 or 5 kisses. The guy made sense. I can't say he didn't make sense. Not my style. Might have something growing on his lip later when he gets back into the States. Either way, that concept it applies. You shake enough hands, you're going to make enough money, right? You talk to enough people, you're going to find somebody who you can court. And it's a great skill and a great way to develop character, develop your ability to work a room, your ability to communicate with people, your ability to read body language, your ability to, pivot on in the middle of a conversation, or when things go awkward or go left, recover. There's so many great things. And people respect that. A woman is going to respect that way more than you slide in her DM. You're just like everybody else. So I don't believe that bullshit where, we're trying to compete with everybody. And not we, I'm a married man, where men are trying to compete with everybody and trying to sit here and, all the DMs are the reason why I can't. If I don't have a Bugatti, if I don't have a car, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Let me tell you why. There's a lot of fucking inmates that are getting married in jail, dude. There's sex offenders who are still finding girlfriends and wives. Think about this, okay? There are inmates right now in prison doing life sentences that are meeting people on through the phone and getting married in fucking prison. There are sex offenders on the sex offender registry that are still able to date and get women. You mean to tell me you can't compete with that? Is that what you're trying to sell yourself? Is you can't compete with that? The fuck out of here, man. Go out here, shoot your shot. Another thing that I think makes you a man is having faith. Having faith in God. I think having faith in God sets you apart from people that don't. We are a just lost society. And we're a society where people just, especially men, don't have the answers. We're not supposed to. We're supposed to be able to lean on our faith when needed. And I'm not saying you have to be, a super holy roller, religious, you don't have to be the righteous gemstones, right? But you need to have an anchor. I think being a man has that anchor and that strong point where, hey, I know that I'm here for a reason. And I know that God put me here on this earth for that reason, And I know that when I'm done here, he's got something waiting for me, right? You'd be surprised how powerful that is. Even when, and I'm not a big holy roller myself, but my faith has always been strong. I've always known right from wrong. Let's just say the man in the sky isn't real. Okay. Let's just say that. Let's just say God's not real. Let's just say that it's all bullshit, but you got the Bible, right? And so many people spend so much time trying to debunk it or argue with it instead of learning from it. You have one of the best-selling books of all time, and it's the Book of Life. There's every situation and scenario that can go down in that book. Let's say God doesn't exist, but you just buy into what the Bible says. It's going to give you a good, strong moral code. It's going to make you a good human being. Wouldn't we rather have people with morals and be just good people in our society than sit here and have a bunch of fucking moralist fucking pricks that are just out here for themselves, just destroying everything? You're seeing it all right in front of our eyes. You're seeing society go down right in front of our eyes where people just don't have any kind of conscience of the things that they're doing, and they're just fucking people over left and right and wondering why their life's never getting where they need to be. Wonder why they're never getting ahead. I think a strong value and attribute of being a good man is having strong faith. You know what I mean? And again, you don't have to sit here and, be, all in the church like that. You just have to have a relationship with God. And you have to be undeniable about that. And you don't have to push it on anybody else. You don't have to tell anybody how they want to be. You know what I mean? You just have to have your own personal conviction and be confident with that. And that's going to take you through them dark times. It's going to take you through the things when you need help and there's nobody there to be able to help you other than God. And then those are a couple things. I think I'm forgetting a couple other attributes, but let's talk about the other side of it. Let's talk about the men my age, right? The men who I believe are failing these men. All right. I'm going to give you some tips on how to be a better leader. And this will help you as well. Stop putting these young men and these younger people in boxes. Stop putting them in categories and looking at them and counting them out and disregarding them because they're in their 20s and they're on social media and they have their issues. You were like that too. You were a fuck up too. I know I was a fuck up. I know I had my shit. But let me tell you something. When I was 15 years old, when I was 20 years old, when I was 25 years old, man, I was so fucking passionate and I believed every fucking word that I said out of my mouth. And yes, there are things that I've changed and I've evolved and I've, went back on. But overall, I'm still the same motherfucker that I was back then. And I'm still just as hungry and passionate and all the things that I was when I was 15, 20, 25, that people were looking at me like I was some young idiot. I was not. I was just as hungry and just as motivated and just as real as I am today. So don't put these kids in a box and stop trying to preach to them. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. You know what you do? You ask them fucking questions. You get them to open up. Learn how to be better interviewers, so to speak. Learn how to ask better questions. A lot of where people learn in life is self-discovery. So if I can ask you the right questions and get you talking and you talking out loud to another man that maybe you look up to, respect you, or trying to earn a relationship with, you might have that self-discovery motion in your mind to say, hey, maybe what I'm thinking or where the path I've been going, maybe that's not necessarily where I should be going. Maybe this is more of who I'm becoming and where I should be. But you got to do that through asking questions. And then ask permission to give them feedback. Ask permission to give them your opinion. Don't just sit here and start barking at them. Let's go back to religion. What's the worst part about religion? People trying to fucking push it on you. Well, other than touching kids and all that weird shit. People trying to push it on you, right? You say, hey, do you believe in God? And somebody says no. Well, this is why you should. You should do this. You should. Nobody wants to fucking hear that. You just share your perspective. And you share your perspective with permission. You don't just sit here and go out here and, you know what I mean? Hey, man, why are you doing this? Well, this is what you should be doing. Nobody fucking wants to hear what they should be doing. Stop trying to be everybody's dad and just be an example. And that segues to my next thing. Be the example. If you fuck up, own it. Don't try to lie. Don't try to put it on somebody else. Don't try to act like you didn't fuck up or your intentions were. Just own it. I got a guy right now, like he's into something that, you know what I mean? Like is a little weird, but it's all good. Like, just own it. Just say that's what you're into, then nobody bust your balls. But instead, they want to act like they're not into that, right? What the fuck ever. Dude, who cares? Who gives a fuck? But you got to be the example. And then you got to strive each day to be better. You got to strive to sit here and lead. A lot of people get being the example mixed up with thinking they have to be a Dudley Do-Right. You just have to keep it real. You have to stand on business and keep it real. That's all. And you have to be willing to sit here and say, I'm flawed and I'm working on it, but I'm still flawed. And that's where I'm at right now. And men my age, get off the fucking video games, get off the drugs, get off the alcohol, get off the vices, go out here and get in shape. You know what I mean? Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I can't stand the 40-some-year-old men who try to tell me that when they get mad, they see red and they would hurt somebody. You ain't hurting nobody, dog, but yourself. You gonna hurt your back trying to fuck around and be some violent motherfucker. You gonna fucking have a stroke. You look like you're about to pop now with your blood pressure so high, your cholesterol so high. I ain't trying to hear that bullshit. Men be living in such a delusion as like they are, well, I work every day. You work every day. That ain't working out, okay? You might be physical at your job, and I commend you for that hard work, but that's what you do for a living. You're rewarded for that. Go to the gym afterwards. I know these guys, there's a couple dudes downstairs. These fucking dudes have some of the best physiques I've ever seen. They work hard construction, and they've got some of the best physiques. They come in here every single day. They work on their bodies. They work on their health. They're good dudes. I don't even know them personally. I've just met them and spoke to them, and that's about it. And they look phenomenal, right? Got the body that men want to have, right? And you don't got to go all crazy. Just fucking be active. You can't get up. I've never wanted to learn martial arts from somebody who couldn't do the martial arts. You see what I'm saying? Like, be the example. Don't sit here and try to tell everybody what to do and you ain't doing it yourself. You know what I mean? Get into the gym. Get into books. Start having more thought-provoking questions. And here's another thing. When it comes to alcohol and when it comes to drugs, if you can't handle alcohol and drugs as what they're meant for, recreation, And you have to drink all the time. You have to do drugs all the time, whether it be marijuana, whether it be cocaine, whether it be whatever you're into. Hopefully not anything harder than that. Not saying that they're great, but Jesus, we don't want you on pills. We don't want you on dope. We don't want you on fentanyl. We know what that's doing. Why the fuck anybody think it's a good idea to do fentanyl or dope? I have no clue. But anyway, but if you can't handle your drugs and you're making them a constant habit, you probably shouldn't be doing drugs. You probably shouldn't be drinking, okay? I'm not trying to tell you how to live, but nobody wants to respect a drug addict. Nobody respects an alcoholic, okay? Nobody respects somebody who's at the bar every single weekend at the same bar, saying the same thing, doing the same shit, not doing anything, following through the next day. So you got to be the example, man. We are going to be old one day, and we are going to be unable to move one day, unable to work one day, unable to be the guys that we are. We are going to need these strong leaders, these strong men to have our fucking back and lead us to where we need to go. You guys want to point at fucking all these other things. And let me say this, right? Let me say this. This is to all of the men. You motherfuckers are arguing about politics. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? You're arguing about politics. You're arguing about people that don't give a fuck about us. And I'm not talking about local politics, because that's where my argument would be. My argument would be in local politics and your town hall meetings, your county council meetings, and your state funded shit. You're arguing about Trump and you're arguing about what happens here and happens there. Bro, are you fucking kidding me? These people don't care about us. These people don't care about us. You ain't never met these people. You're arguing about politics. You fucking kidding me? Men used to argue about sports. Men used to argue about who's got the badder girl and who's got the fastest car. We arguing about politics? Are you fucking kidding me? Has anything changed in the entire time, you 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old man? Has anything fucking changed in politics that you've been arguing all of a sudden about? Fuck no. It doesn't happen. You're arguing about politics? You young men, you're arguing about politics? You fucking kidding me? You motherfuckers are out here going out here protesting. You're protesting this no king shit. Then you're protesting the no kings protest shit. Like, the fuck are y'all doing? Y'all are that fucking bored to go out here and fucking talk about politics? Give me a fucking break. When has it ever worked? That's not being a man, in my opinion. That's not making a difference, okay? Go get your money up. Start spending money and start impacting that way. Go to these council meetings, these county council meetings. Go be involved. Don't just sit from the sideline and fucking cry and talk about politics. It's not being a man. But us 40-some-year-old men, I'm 45. When you see this, I'm 45 this month. All right, I'm almost a half a century old. I'm about halfway, according to the statistics, of how long men will live. Men live about 78 years old. I'm about halfway. A little bit over, actually. Fuck. Just realize that. We got better things to do in our lives than to sit here and argue about politics and to keep getting fucked up every weekend and to keep living a bad example, playing video games, being addicted to porn, and not being. We have to be the examples for these men. We have to learn how to talk to these men, how to lead these men. We have to pull them out of their shells because they're an anxious generation, because they're stuck in what they don't realize they're stuck in. We have to be the ones to do that. You know what I mean? Combat sports is a great way to do this. This is why combat sports is popping right now, because they get conversations, they get stuff that they learn how to fight. They do hard things. It's fitness. This is why my business is flourishing the way it is because right now so many people need some sort of outlet. And mixed martial arts is doing that. It's not just one style, it's all styles. And I'm not trying to do a promo here. I'm just telling you straight up. Like, get outside of the bullshit you're doing and the judgment that you're being, men my age, and start being an example for these young men. So there was a ton of other things I want to touch on, but I'm running out of time. And I just get really passionate about, but those are some key fundamentals right there that I think will help everybody. And if you need anything, you have any questions, you want to talk about this, message me. Hit the DMs if you're in my space, or hit the comments on YouTube. You know what I mean? Let us know. Message us. Talk about it. Let's hear. I read the comments. I don't ignore the comments. You talk some dumb shit and hate on me. I don't give a fuck about that. That don't bother me, right? It's the internet. Y'all ain't doing do shit anyway. But when you're talking about like real thought-provoking context and conversations in those comments, I read those and I take those into consideration. And I'd love to help you guys. You know what I mean? So, I hope that helps. I got a son that I'm working on trying to make a man. And, it's a lot different than raising my girls. We need strong men in this world. We need more men. We need more strong men. We need men that are going to sit here and be the example. And it's up to you men, you young men, to get off your vices and take action. And it's up to you older men to stop living on your fucking high horse and thinking you know everything and start being a little humble and go out here and help these people, because we can't keep putting them in boxes. We can't keep just leaving our kids, our youth, our future leaders to hang out to dry. We didn't like it when it happened to us. Guys, if you got value out of this, please send this over to somebody who would, or like and subscribe to any platform. And again, if you're feeling extra generous, a review really goes far away. It really goes far for us. Guys, until next time, what are you doing today to become a champion?